ladies and gentlemen, for the final time, go wild, go crazy, and put your hands together for me! Fiery day tonight, Edinburgh. How are you guys? It's the last show. I was completely unprepared to do the Edinburgh Fringe when I came here, but I've already learned so much about doing stand-up comedy since being here. I've learned so much. First thing I learned, the first thing you do when you get on stage, you have to get to know the audience. Sir, can you tell me your name, please? Cool. The second thing you have to do when you get on stage is you have to let the audience get to know you. So I'll tell you guys a bit about myself, some weird facts. I'm a shopaholic. I can't stop buying alcohol. It's not a real problem. Something a little weirder maybe, you know, guys, thing about me, I really like drunk showers. I don't know if anyone else like this, but yeah, lads, there's nothing I like better than getting in from a night out and getting under that nice, lovely, warm water. It's a bit dangerous though, you know yourself, like sometimes you're in there and you're loving life, the water's coming down on you, and then you have that realization, my phone's in my pocket. And then you have the second realization, I'm still wearing jeans. No guys, this show, this is my first real show. You know, I got this show because I did comedy in Newcastle for a year. That's what I told them, and you know it is true. What I didn't tell them was I had only actually done stand-up 6 times in that year in Newcastle. So when I came here, it was only my 7th time on stage, and if you added up all the time that I was on stage over those 6 times, it did not equal 50 minutes, which is how long my first show was. So I more than doubled. And I know what you're thinking. You know, you're sitting there thinking like, oh, he's really going out of his way to set our expectations for the show. That's a good sign. It's great when you go to a concert, isn't it? And the band starts every song with, "Now, we haven't really practiced this next one, but sing along if you know the words." But I think it's important to let you know, not just to set expectations, but just so kind of the story of the show, and that it comes from a place of just like having guts and being bold and doing whatever you want to do, because it only takes guts to be a stand-up comedian. You might think you need to be funny, but honestly, that is optional. You think of all the famous, successful stand-up comedians in the world that you probably only think about half of them are funny. And other people only think about, the other half are funny. I know that's grand, like, you can't be everyone's cup of tea, I'd love to be a 10 out of 10 stand-up comedian, but lads, like, what's realistic? I would be so happy just being a 10 out of 10, 6 out of 10 stand-up comedian. And I think we're on our way. So I am very new to comedy. So I like to try out some different kinds of comedy when I'm here on stage. So the first thing I thought I'd try out is some improv. We do a quick 10-second, really quick improv bit, just quick 10 seconds. Can somebody yell out occupation and a country, please?
Prostitute.
Okay, I heard Bulgaria from the back, and I heard prostitute. Yeah, okay. So quick 10 seconds, quick 10-second improv. This is a Bulgarian prostitute. Starting now. I couldn't think of anything. Another good thing to do is, what I think, what I always want to, put into my act is a bit of magic, What's nice, some comedians, they play music, they might do other stuff, something that might, excite the crowd, give them a bit of a wow factor. So I thought I might show you a magic trick, lads. That's what we'll do now. So, for obvious reasons, I call this the fork trick. And it goes like this. Hey, look over there. Got him. Trick that fork. Okay. None of all those stupid jokes are the way. Let's start the show. As I mentioned, I'm a huge comedy nerd, and one thing that I think about a lot is how comedy changes through the years. And one of my favorite examples of this is how just 7 or 8 years ago, every comedy special you would have seen on TV or on Netflix or whatever would always have a bit where the comedian would talk about religion. or he wouldn't talk about religion, but he would talk about atheism and how he thought religion was stupid. And, like all comedians at that time were very like pseudo-intellectual and stuff. But just in the last couple of years, that's become an incredibly uncool thing to do, and you don't see it anymore. And if you tried to talk about atheism or whatever, like people would call you buzzwords like pseudo-intellectual and stuff. So I think it's a different climate. But I have my own bit on religion that I want to do, and be damned with the political times, because I have a bit of a theory. I think I've uncovered a pretty major secret in the Bible. I think I know how Jesus came back from the dead. I'm going to share this with you now. Have you ever noticed how all of Jesus' best tricks revolved around food? He fed the 5,000. We all know that one. He turned a wee bit of food into loads of food. That's a great one. He turned water into wine, which I don't know if you've ever read that story, but they were just at a dinner party and he ran out of wine. When you're talking miracles, it's fairly upper middle class, right? Like, he's not feeding the poor with that one, is he? And I know you're sitting here thinking, no, what does this have to do with how Jesus came back from the dead? Well, lads, what did he do the night before at the Last Supper? He turned himself into food so all the lads could eat him or whatever. He didn't die up there on the cross. He was bread the whole time. Yeah, that whole bit is just a pun on the word bread and dead. Thank you so much for laughing. That joke's called The Passion of the Crust. Thank you. Oh, you're too kind. Oh, stop, guys. If you need more proof, he walked on water, breath floats. Guys, I'm telling you, I've solved them. But no, another way that comedy's changed through the years is, most modern young comedians, they all talk about, very serious issues. They're very strong messages behind their comedy. They talk about things like sexuality and mental health issues. And, I struggle with this because, like, old comedians just got to talk about like how bad airplane food was. And like, oh, my mother-in-law sure likes to talk a lot. When you hear this story? And I struggle with that because like, does comedy need a message behind it, or can something be innately funny? Because writing jokes is hard enough on its own without having to put a message in there. Well, writing setups is easy. It's the punchlines that are hard. See? And I struggle, like what do I even have to say? Like what would I have? What kind of message could my jokes have where I wouldn't just be like reaching for something, where I wouldn't be like just coming off as pretentious and stuff? And I had a big think about this because like when you're doing a long show like this, you want to say something important to people, something that they can take away, something they can learn. And so I thought what I could teach is how to write jokes, because people don't know where to start. So I tell you how I write jokes. You don't write one joke. You write 10 jokes, and they're all awful. But like for every 10 of those awful jokes, you might have like an okay joke, and then for every 10 of those okay jokes, you could have a good joke. And then if you're really lucky, for 10 of those good jokes, you might have a great joke in your hands. Now that's a bit of a cop-out answer. Instead of teaching us how to write a joke, I just taught you how to not write 1,000 jokes. But it is the truth. Like there's no trick to it. It's just a grind. But it is a cop-out answer. So I'll tell you something. I'll tell you the first joke I ever wrote. Okay, and not the first great or good or okay. Just the first awful joke I've written in a long line of awful jokes that led me here. And it goes like this. So this lad and this girl, they're on a night out, together. They meet each other, and they go back to her place. They pull each other, and they just met that night. So he's still trying to keep the conversation going. So when they get into their house, he sees that she has a cat. So he says, "Oh, you have a cat?" Because he's a bit of a conversationalist, this fella. He says, "What's its name?" She goes, "Oh, that cat. My cat, that cat there." Because she's a bit of a conversationalist too. She says, his name is the colonialization of the West by the British in 1812. And he's got about 1,000 questions to ask straight away, but the first one, he just he just falls right out of him. He just says, with colonialization. Do you know what I mean? Colonization. She says, the colonization of the West by the British in 1812. I don't know. Sounds like a pretty stupid name for a cat. Thank you for laughing at that joke. I think it's important to point out that, you are laughing, but that is an awful joke. It's just that I set your expectations before I told the joke. I told you it was an awful joke. I knew it was an awful joke when I told it. If I just went out to tell that joke, it would not go down well at all. So I cheated. But is it cheating if it still makes you laugh, still enhances your enjoyment? And maybe, some of you didn't laugh at that joke. And that's grand too, comedy's subjective. It's the fact that you didn't laugh at that joke is, it marks you as like a unique and individual person. And, it would be insane for me to think that, anything that I say would be funny to anyone else, let alone everyone else. So you not laughing, it points you out as original and, just probably too stupid to get it, But I do think even a joke like that has a meaning behind it, because I actually think all pieces of media, all art, all jokes have the same message, and that's, that we're all the same. When you connect with a joke, you connect with comedian talent, you laugh in a room full of people you don't know also laughing, you're all in it together, It's a weird thing that kind of, unites us. It's kind of a beautiful thing I'm doing up here, lads. But no, and with that in mind, sometimes I think that, it might be more important than to be funny is to just be relatable. When a comedian is able to say that thing that you've always thought but never said, when he's able to put that into words, you feel such a connection with the comedian. It's a dangerous game, though, trying to be a relatable comedian. Because, you could get up there and you could say, like, hey guys, isn't it weird, that weird thing we all do? And then no one laughs because no one else does that weird thing, and you just told an entire room full of people a weird thing that you do. There's a very good reason I use weird thing and not an actual example in that. It's happened before. I was at a comedy club in Newcastle last year, and there's a lad on stage. He was doing a relatable joke, and his joke was, he was talking about how he was in the bathroom, he was having a pee. And when he left to go, there was no one else in the bathroom, and he was in a rush or whatever. So he decided he wouldn't wash his hands. But he was worried that someone might be listening, or someone might be there to judge him. So he still turned on the water. He still turned on the hand dryer. His joke, being that he spent as much time pretending to wash his hands that he may as well just wash his hands. And the whole audience was laughing at this. But I wasn't laughing. I was sitting there thinking, are none of ye washing your hands? Lads, wash your fucking hands. That's disgusting. Lads, if you want a message to take away from this show, if you're going to take one thing away, let it be that. Wash your fucking hands. I'm sorry for swearing. I really don't like swearing on stage. This is a Catholic show. But seriously, man, wash your fucking hands for the love of God. But no, 24 is a weird age to be, because you're old enough where you're so aware that you have to be responsible for your future. You're laying the foundations of what the rest of your life are going to be like, the really solid foundations. You have your degree, and now you have to use it, and you have to find a woman that you're going to marry. But you're also still young enough that that you've left to savor. You're still young enough to do mad stuff, and you really want to, because you're so aware that one day you're going to be too old to do that mad stuff. And one day you're going to be really old. Really old. Like 25. I went traveling this year. That's what you're meant to do when you're, holding on to your youth. This is the proof of that. I got right off the plane. They ripped the watch off me and they put these on. So the white one there, that's actually it's a Buddhist giju. I got it in a very small village in the very north of Thailand called Phuket. And it's a blessing they give you to cleanse you when you enter the village. And they give them out on important cultural days of significance for them. The pink one is when I checked into a hotel, so they knew which bag was mine. And this stripy one here is a friendship bracelet given to me by a very beautiful woman who I wanted to have sex with. Friendship bracelet. Gosh, she's too old for me, guys. She was like 26. Come on, get in here. God, it's mad though. That's mad. When you go traveling, lads, like it's the new like Woodstock in the '60s. That's what traveling's like now. The free love flying about. It's too much for me. The amount of I don't know if it's like if loose people go traveling or if traveling makes people want to act a bit loose because there's less consequences. But like, it doesn't make sense, lads. It's going out non-stop. Right? I was away for 2 months, and I doubled the amount of women that I'd ever had sex with in those 2 months. It doesn't make sense, lads. I've not had sex with 3 women. It doesn't make sense. No, I don't like traveling. I don't like traveling very much at all. I don't like when like people leave you at the airport and they say, "Fly safe." That's not up to me. I don't like when you're on the plane and they say, "Oh, we'd like to remind you this is a no smoking flight." Where are all these smoking flights going? I've never even seen one of those. Every time I get on a train, I'm never more than 60% sure that I'm on the right train. I've gotten off of plenty of trains because I'm 100% sure, no, this is the wrong train. And then I'm on the platform and the train starts to take off and I realize, oh no, that was my train. And then you put that mess in a country that I don't speak the language of. It's a mess, guys. It's not a good time. And every time I'm on a plane, every time I sit down in the plane, I have the same thought. I think, what if it goes down? What if it goes down? What am I going to do? And guys, I've thought about it so much that now, maybe I'm not even worried because I know exactly what I'm going to do. I know exactly who I'm going to message. The love of my life, the one that got away, the girl I haven't seen in 4 years. And I know exactly what I'd message her, I'd probably open with something casual, like something like, "Oh, I'm going to die, I've always loved you." Just something casual. I know I'd message my parents. I know what I'd message my parents. But they're very supportive. I'm sure they'd just be happy for me. But the real question is this, lads. The real question is this you have to ask yourself. So you're on the plane, and the pilot, he turns on the thing, he says, like, "There's nothing we can do, guys. Everyone just, turn on your phones, it doesn't matter, there's nothing we can do. 5 minutes, we're all going to be gone." And the lad next to you is asleep. What do? Do you wake him up? Or do you let him, do you let him?
That's it.
I'm waking him up. Because I know I want to be woken up in that situation. I want to be woken up.
He's at peace.
But no, I know I'd wake him up. I have a good way to do it as well. I'd really shock him awake. I'd shake him. Those times when you get woken up and it's like you feel like a train hit you, you get shaken awake. You're just like, "Oh God, I wish I was dead." You're like, "Oh, I got good news for you then. You don't have to worry about a thing. It's all coming up to you." No, I don't like traveling. It awakens an anxiety in me that I don't have in any other part of my life. I never got anxious about like exams in school, and I don't even get that anxious about coming out on stage. That's something about traveling, guys. I don't know. Like I think I was designed to be the most boring person in the world, but I won't let myself. That's why I'm doing like this stuff. But I don't know, and I think why don't I just let myself be boring? Why don't I just let myself do that? And I think it's because I care what other people think of me, which people will say is a terrible reason to do anything. But then what's the alternative? That I only care about what I think about myself? I don't care what that idiot thinks. I want affirmation from others. But no, I don't know what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say, I think, is they say the only way to grow is to get out of your comfort zone. Well, I spent 2 months in a state of constant anxiety, and I am still only 5'8", so I don't know what those people are talking about. They don't have a clue, lads. I'm telling you, it doesn't work. But no, that inner conflict, that's kind of where the name of the show comes from. And it's something I find throughout my whole life, that I've always had that kind of, that duality, that argument in my head. And the way I've always explained it to people, I've been told this is not a good explanation, but the way I've always explained it to people is that I feel like I've got 2 heads, and one head is filled with things that I think, and the other head is filled with things that I know. And things that I think are like when I'm walking down the street, I think that everyone is judging everything about me, like how I look, how I walk, how I sound. I know nobody cares. I know no one's looking at me twice when I'm walking down the street. But I think they are. And the problem is I don't always know which thoughts are coming from which head. And it makes me very paranoid about, a lot of things. Because that's like, I always think like, you might have your own perspective on yourself, but you'll never know what other people's perspective of you is. You'll never know. And sometimes they could be completely misaligned. Like, I know, like, maybe on stage now, like, I'm coming across as, like, confident or aloof or handsome. But that's so mad to me because, like, I know myself. And, like deep down, like, I'm so anxious and needy and handsome that it's, but no, I want things I know I don't need. Like, I want things I know won't make me happy. I know, like, being rich and famous wouldn't fulfill me the way that, like, having amazing friends, a loving family, goals, a love life, the way those things would really fulfill me. But she's like, love to be rich and famous. When you love to be rich and famous, that doesn't sound like class crack. Like being rich and just, buy whatever you want, go do whatever you want, and being famous and going on TV and, like, everyone has to listen to what you have to say for no reason. Like, that doesn't sound class. But, it's beat into us from such a young age that, like, money can't buy happiness. From such a young age we're taught that. And, I think it's true. But even, when you're young and you're first told that, I think we all have the same kind of thought where we think, like, yeah, but no money also can't buy happiness. At least if you have no happiness and money, you can have stuff as well. Because, like, stuff's always going to come in handy. Do you know what I mean? But I don't know, guys. I like questions, but I don't like answers. Like this inner conflict. Like I've very intelligent friends. Like a lot of my friends, they went to university. They have master's degrees in things like engineering and physics. Like they know a lot about, like, the natural world and science and stuff. And sometimes I'll ask them questions about, science and natural world. Like, they might ask me, like, how come rainbows are the shape that they are, and how come they exist out there and we all see the same one, even though they're just refractions of light taking place in our eyes. And then one of them will start answering the question, and my eyes will just glaze over, and I'll think, oh no, I didn't care about my rainbows or that shape or whatever. I just wanted you to say, huh, that's a good question. I don't know. That's all I wanted. I like questions without answers, or without easy answers. Like questions. I like questions like, how come dogs never need swimming lessons? I took swimming lessons for years. Dogs can just, like, jump in and they're grand. I like questions. I like, okay, if you're a vegetarian, but you bite your fingernails, are you a vegetarian on that technical level? Are you still a vegetarian if you bite your fingernails? Edinburgh's a gorgeous city, guys. But there's construction work going on, like, all over the place. And at all times of year, there seems to be construction work going on somewhere. When's Edinburgh going to be finished? Like, when do they take a picture for the postcard? Do you know what I mean? Like, when do they tie the ribbon? I know if you guys, like, remember in the 90s when there were a lot of protests to free Tibet. Did we ever free Tibet, though? Like, when's the last time you guys heard from Tibet? Because I don't know how good they're doing. Questions, guys. She sells seashells on the seashore. Why? Who's buying them? That's the one place you can get seashells for free. That's the worst place you could possibly sell seashells. No, guys. This inner conflict is everywhere. Like no matter how earnest someone is when they come to me with a new recommendation for a TV show on Netflix, no matter how much they know my tastes, no matter how much I would definitely love the show. Every time someone brings me a new recommendation, I just think, oh, great. Friendship homework. And it is homework. Like, they check in on you all the time, like, oh, what episode are you on? Have you finished it yet? And what's worse is when they watch it with you, because that's like school. Like, they catch you on your phone, they'll confiscate it off you. Like, I feel bad, because it comes from a nice place when they bring it to you. They're like, oh, you love this. And I'm like, oh, I don't even have time to watch the shows I want to watch. I've seen Ghostbusters 2 5 times. I don't have time to watch The Godfather. Do you know what I mean? Ghostbusters 2 to rewatch. I feel bad for saying that stuff, because I don't, they come from a good place when they do that. Everyone does. You know, and you can't, you can't judge anyone. You know, I don't like to judge anyone. You know, like they say, like, you know, be part of the solution, not part of the problem. But sometimes, you know, like, you might catch someone being part of the problem, and, you know, it's not their fault that they're being part of the problem. You know, it's their situation that they were put in. You know, like, guys, you know, I fully believe, like, be part of the solution, not part of the problem. But, like, if I'm in a toilet cubicle and there's piss all over the toilet seat, not being part of that solution. That's not for me. No, I'm just gonna go through, guys, you know. And, you know, you shouldn't judge me for that. Not because I'm above judgment, but just because, you know, you can't judge anyone for anything. Nothing. I believe that. Take, like, the highest earning CEO in the world, and you take Jim the plumber from down the road from them. They're both experts in their own field. And that's, you know, like, that's not a joke, you know, it's true. Like, the CEO, he couldn't fix your sink for you. And Jim the plumber, he's not gonna help you dodge your taxes. Like, what I'm trying to say is, you know, like, you don't know better than anyone. You know different. You know, everyone knows different things, you know. It's like what a homeless man in a bus station once said to me. Bah! Oh yeah, that one's for Netflix. Oh yeah. But no, yeah, I've never had a girlfriend. That's something, you know, that I worry that I get judged for. You know, I worry that I hate when audiences do that. They always do that. I hate it so much. I'll take that one. No, I can't see anybody. Don't worry. But no, I've never had a girlfriend. You know, like I hate when people odd and, you know, give pity shit, because, you know, like I've still had relationships. You know, they've never blossomed into that. But, you know, I've still been in love before and stuff. You know what I mean? Like, right? The love of my life was French, actually. She still is, probably. I haven't seen her. No, I always do French for that joke, and I never know why. Like, the truth is, you know, the love of my life, she's English. She's an English girl. Which I know it's like, oh, you know, complete opposites. Irish and English would never work, you know. She's a big city girl. I'm a medium-sized city boy. What would the kids even look like, you know? It doesn't work. You know, they say opposites attract, though, you know, which I think is definitely true. For me, not so much for her. You know, and it's hard, you know, because I find myself in a constant cycle where I'm trying to, you know, cling on to my youth and do the, you know, I'm on all the dating apps, like all the dating apps. Jesus, lads, like Tinder, Bumble, Hinge, Borrow My Dog, I'm on all of them. And, you know, actually, little short thing. So me and my friend were promoting this show. We basically turned our Bumble and Tinder profiles into ads for the show, and we would, like, go in with girls we match, and we'd, like, try to convince them to come to the show. And, like, actually, we did get over 50 girls to say no. But you know, I find myself in a constant cycle where, you know, like, I'm going on these dates with these girls, and, you know, and I don't find it fulfilling. And, you know, because what I think, you know, what I want is a girlfriend. You know, like, what I want is a support, someone who's going to be there, someone who's going to help me, and then, you know, so I'll go on serious dates, and I'll really try to meet someone, and then what happens is you meet someone and you get cold feet, and you start to panic. You think, like, oh no, like, I have to cling on to my youth or whatever, like stupid thoughts in your head, and so you get scared, you run away, you know, and I hate this aspect of myself, you know, because I think, like, the thing that I want to be more than anything in the world is a dad. You know, I don't really care about, like, what job I would have in the future. You know, I don't care about how much money I would make. Like, as long as I could make enough money that I could have, like, 3 kids at least. You know, like, that's all I want. I'd love to have all daughters. I really love the idea of having all daughters. And I'd name them after flowers, which I like. People always think, you know, really cheesy and stuff, but I like when people have theme names for their kids. And you get gorgeous names out of flowers. You get really gorgeous names out of flowers, you know. Rose and Lily and Venus flytrap. Rose is like the smart one, Lily's like the sporty one, and then, like, Venus flytrap's really good at karate. But no, you know, they say, you know, you have to learn to love yourself before you can love somebody else. But I've been single my whole life, lads. Pretty good at the old self-love at this point. A bit sick of it, if anything, lads, if I have to be honest with you. I don't know. But but Joe, I'm trying to put myself out there. I'm trying to find someone, you know. One way I've been going about this, I've been trying to put myself in the head of the modern woman, you know. So I've been putting myself through the daily trials they have to go through, you know. I'm one of these, you know, the plague of the modern woman is getting sent dick pics. So I've been putting myself through this plague myself, and I've been sending myself dick pics. There's two problems with this though. The first problem is, you know, the only dick that I have to be sending pictures of to myself is my own. And the other problem with this is I kind of like looking at my own dick. It turns out in a weird twist. And I think I understand now in a weird, inadvertent way. I understand now why men be sending their dick pics to girls. And there's a weird analogy, so bear with me, but like what it's like, lads, is this. It's like when someone shows you a picture of their baby. And, you know, to you, it's like, that's just the baby. They all look the same. But to me, lads, that's my special little guy. That's my special medium-sized guy. You know? Oh, look at him. I give him a little trim. He's got a haircut. Oh, look how much he's grown. Yeah, okay, let's talk about sex. Let's cut the pretense. Let's talk about sex. Let's talk about sex. Well, no, we're not gonna talk. I'm gonna do all the work, and you guys are just gonna sit there. Oh, hey, just like sex. That's crazy, right? Why did he do that? But no, seriously, no. I think one of the most interesting things about sex is, and it's kind of, you know, in a bit of a sad way, is you can think you know someone so well, and then you have sex with this person and you realize I never knew this person at all. You know, you can build up this relationship over a huge amount of time of friendship, and then you both just, you know, you get drunk one night, things go horribly right, and and sometimes the friendship can be completely ruined, and you know, at best the relationship dynamic will never be the same. You know, and it happened to me last year. I had sex with a girl. We've been very close friends for the year, and we were having sex, and as we were having sex, I came across this little mole on her back, and I cummed across this little mole on her back. Sorry, that was a grammar joke. It wasn't a sex joke. Oh my God, Niall, how can you say these vile things on stage? I thought this was a Catholic show. It is a Catholic show. I didn't wear a condom. Obviously, come on. No contraceptives. No contraceptives. You guys are a great crowd, by the way. But no, so yeah, sex is mad, isn't it? But pure class. Had it 3 times. But no, I sometimes think, you know, like doing comedy, I sometimes worry that, you know, like, cause I'm coming from a male perspective, that I might like alienate people who aren't, you know, like straight guys. And you know, so I try to, like, you know, whenever I can, I try to use like neutral pronouns so that like anyone can insert themselves into the stories. Because at the end of the day, lads, inserting ourselves into others, like, that's what it's all about. You know what I mean? That's what all these jokes are about. But no, I joke. I'm messing, but honestly, my greatest fear in life is that, like, I'll never find the one. You know, and not in the way that, you know, that there is a one out there, but just I'll never find a girl and, you know, it'll work out the whole way. You know, because I've met girls, I've been in love, and it hasn't worked out for, you know, various reasons. And I feel like, what if it never works out? You know, and it's a great fear that, you know, like, you know, throughout my life, you know, what if I'm never with that girl when we go the distance? What if I'm never with a girl and I'm thinking, like, you know, like, this is going to be the woman who's going to raise Venus flytrap with me. Like, this is going to be the woman that I'm gonna grow old with and take care of when we're older together, you know? It's a great fear in my life. My second greatest fear is snails. I really don't like snails. Snails freak me out. I cross the street if I see a snail. And it's a close second as well. It's not far off, I gotta be honest. I really don't like snails, guys. But no, I'd be dating and stuff, and it's mad. Like, being, living in England as well, like, I when I go on dates with girls, the first thing they always talk about is the accent. And an accent is something that enamors all of us, like, from wherever you are. Men and women alike, we all love an accent, there's something about it. It's a weird thing to base a relationship off of, guys. Because, she's sitting across the table and, like, she thinks, she's giving me a compliment, talking about my accent, telling me she likes my accent. But I'm just sitting there thinking, one day I'm going to have to take this girl back to my hometown. And she's going to realize there are 50,000 other guys there with the exact same accent. And some of them have much better other qualities as well. So every girl I've ever been with thinks I'm from India. That's what I get around. Simple trick, lads. I'm just going to take that home with you. But dating's crazy. I've been on Tinder dates and stuff, and it's a weird thing. You learn a bit too much about yourself. I was on a Tinder date with a girl once, and I was in the bar waiting for the show, and as I was waiting, I was looking through her profile again before she showed up, and as I was looking, I realized from the way she angled her pictures and stuff that I didn't notice before, but she might be really tall. I didn't notice how tall she might be. I didn't even think about that, and as I was going through her pictures, like, oh no, like if she shows up and she's really tall, it's gonna be very awkward for both of us, like. And I remember sitting there thinking, I was like, oh god, it's gonna be so awkward. Like, please don't be too tall. Please don't be too tall. Please don't be too tall. And then she didn't show up at all. So it always works out. But no, and this next one's the sad one, guys. So this next one's the sad one because sometimes you go on these dates and you have a one-night stand with a girl, and that's brings with it its own. Its own things, its own baggage. Like it happened to me once. I went on a date with a girl and we went for drinks, and we, it went horribly right. Like we ended up back at her place, and as we were kissing in her bed, and as we were, she pulled away from me very suddenly, and I had no idea what was going on. But I looked at her and I looked at her face, and she had this terrible, sorrowful look in her face. Like her eyes were nearly welling up, and I had no idea what was wrong. And she looked me straight in the eyes, and she just said to me, "Will you still like me after we've had sex?" And when I think of what she might have gone through in past relationships, in past dates, past one-night stands, that would make her want to ask that question. When I think of what her perception of me might be, that would make her want to ask that question. It absolutely broke my heart. Because I didn't really like her to begin with. She was really annoying. She was always asking stupid questions like that. I'm so sorry. All comedy specials end in a very similar way. The comedian will, he'll kind of stop the show and he'll ask the audience to indulge him. Maybe they'll tell a sad story, or maybe they'll sing a song or something, or maybe say like, oh, I don't actually hate my mother-in-law, and she's here tonight. But so I'm gonna do that now, and I will tell you a bit of a story, and I hope you find it funny. But the reason I like to tell it is because it's a true story. And it doesn't have an obvious message to it, but maybe you can take something away with you, and maybe it'll mean something to you. So we're gonna get a bit dramatic. Cameron, can I get a big dramatic spotlight for this end? So the story starts in a wee town in Ireland called Bundoran in Donegal. Okay, so you haven't heard of it. Thank you very much, guys. That's the show. Oh, Edinburgh, you have been fantastic. But sure, I bet you tried that for all the girls.